Hello, everyone. The third eye is taking you to see the world. Today, I will continue the topic of mysterious high-dimensional structure of human body, which is from series of articles written by Mr. Li Daojun, looking for the key to high-dimensional spacetime. Last time, we talked about that Chinese medicine is entirely different from Western modern medicine. Following, we will use high-dimensional thinking model to correct a concept. It is often said in myths that gods fly to the heaven, gods live in the heaven, and people live on the earth. We may all think that the heaven in mythology refers to the atmosphere above our heads, the clouds in the atmosphere, or the outer space, and that the earth refers to the ground of our planet Earth. As we talked before, God is higher dimensional life. Our humans' low-dimensional thinking concepts couldn't understand God's language. Because the connotation is completely different, it would cause misunderstanding. We should establish a brand new and higher dimensional mindset to understand myths. The heaven that God refers to is not the sky as our humans think, because God is in a higher dimension. And the earth God refers to is not the land in our human concept. If the heaven that God refers to is the sky above us, then the sky above the Americans is just under the feet of the Chinese because they are on the opposite side of the earth. We stand on the earth and find that the moon is in the sky. If we're on the moon, then the earth is in the sky. Then where is the sky? It's very confused. We have to jump out of humans' thinking mode to understand God's words. The heaven that God refers to is the spacetime that higher than humans' dimension. The earth that God refers to is the low-dimensional spacetime like humans. The spacetimes that higher than humans are heaven. It's mentioned in religions, there are a lot of levels heaven, for example 9 levels heaven, 33 levels heaven, etc. Those are the spacetime system that higher than humans' dimension. Based on that, as the myth mentioned the celestial beings flying to the heaven, which means leaving human spacetime and entering to higher level of spacetime, rather than flying into outer space. When human spacecraft flies into outer space, it is not heaven for God, but still on the earth, because the entire human spacetime is the earth, is the lowest from God's point view. We assume the horizon is a two-dimensional spacetime lower than ours. When we look at the beings in this two-dimensional spacetime, no matter how they run and fly, we think that they are still on the ground, they are not able to escape their dimensional spacetime. Anyhow, they are within the horizon, which is two-dimensional. From our three-dimensional point view, they are always on the ground, under our feet. Myths and legends mention that humans were created by gods. In the image of God, He created man from clay. This seems to be a joke to some people now. We know that everything in the three-dimensional universe where we live is composed of molecules. That is to say, the particles of molecule constitute everything in our world. Spacetime in different dimensions may be composed of different particles. If the earth that God refers to is a low-dimensional spacetime like ours, then the particles that make up of these low-dimensional spacetime, such as molecules, are the mud on the ground from God's point view. God said that humans were created from mud on the earth. Does it mean that humans were created out of low-level particles such as molecules in the low-dimensional spacetime universe? So, it's much easy to understand if explained in this way. The Bible mentioned that God formed man from the dust of the earth. According to Chinese mythology, Noah created man from the yellow earth. In Greek mythology, Prometheus molded men out of water and earth. In the Babylonian creation epic, the goddess Ninhursag created humans from clay. Same as Hindu mythology, Yoruba culture, Maori and Inca mythology, all of those mention God create humans from clay. Almost all the ancient legends in the world mention that their gods created humans in their own image from the clay on the ground. Isn't this weird? As we know, in ancient time transportations were inconvenient. Countries were separated by oceans, deserts, mountains, etc., and they were difficult to travel or communicate each other, so their cultures were isolated from each other. If God's creating humans from clay is only an illusion of ancient humans, the illusion should be random. It's possible that one nation said that people grew out of trees, and the other nation said that humans came out of water. But almost all ethnic and linguistic regions in the world, the legends about the creation of humans seem to come from the same model. Gods created humans from clay on the ground. If it is the fantasy of the ancients, how did the ancients cross the barriers of mountains, oceans, deserts, and distant continents, cross races and languages, and the whole world colluded to prepare a common story? Who had ability to plan this huge scam? This logically makes no sense. Therefore, these myths handed down from the ancient times are not the naive fantasy of the ancients, but come from high dimension and really happened in the high dimension. Humans have gradually missed the codes to unlock the high dimension during long historical period. Thus, cannot understand the language of high-dimensional life. Humans could only understand correctly after transforming the dimension of myth's connotation. The term three realms or three worlds is mentioned in the religion and cultivation, saying that humans are beings living in the three realms, and our human's world is in the three realms. What is the three realms? The three realms is a dimensional range divided in the universe, and it is also high-dimensional, but at the lowest level of the universe, it is a huge spacetime system composed of many different dimensional of spacetimes. Religions mention that the three realms contain the 9 levels heaven or 33 levels of heaven, which means that the three realms are composed of many different levels dimensional spacetime, and one level of heaven is one-dimensional spacetime. In history, the gods and Buddhas who created people, saved people, and taught human civilization are high-level life in higher dimensions outside the three realms. Gods and Buddhas enter the low-dimensional three realms to save people, or leave humans' religions and teach people to practice, to help humans elevate the life level, constantly open the door to higher dimensional spacetime. Break through one dimension, step up one heaven level. Until the end, jump out of the three realms and became a great being, become Buddha, Taoism, and God. This is cultivation. After being created by gods, humans originally lived in the higher dimensional spacetime in the three realms, where was very good and happiness. The Bible mentioned that after God created man, mankind originally lived in the Garden of Eden, which is a higher dimensional spacetime in the three realms, where was very beautiful. Later, humans were seduced by the serpent into eating the forbidden fruit, and they were expelled from the garden, and thus lived on the ground. The Buddhist scriptures also mention that humans originally lived in the Guanyin Tian, which is also a high-dimensional spacetime in the three realms, where they lived carefree. Later, some people flew to the earth and enjoyed the desires. As a result, dropped down on the earth and couldn't go back. God created mankind in his image in the three realms, so humans originally lived in higher spacetime in the three realms, so the human's body is high-dimensional, it's corresponded and related to the divine body. So, humans could become high-level life through cultivation. Our physical body is only a small part of the high-dimensional human body, is the part of the high-dimensional human body displayed in three-dimensional spacetime, while the human body in other dimensions is dormant. We are not able to manipulate or perceive that part of the body, because humans are stuck in the lowest dimensional spacetime, stuck in the physical body. In history, many cultivators had awakened the bodies in other dimensions through cultivation, thus transcending the physical body, and the low-dimensional spacetime, becoming higher-dimensional beings. When the bodies in another dimensions are awakened, mankind could have supernormal abilities, which is called superpowers now. For example, mind reading, precognition and retrocognition, long-distance remote controls, levitating, command the clouds and rains, etc. These actually are innate abilities of human body. When humans are stuck in the lowest dimensional physical body, the innate abilities are dormant with high-dimensional human body together. Once the high-dimensional bodies are awakened, these innate abilities will be awakened level by level as well. In the community of cultivators, it's said that in addition to our pair of physical eyes, there is third eye. This is the eye on the body of another dimension, corresponding the position of the pineal body of our physical body. This eye is also called celestial eye, wisdom eyes, yin-yang eyes, etc. Once the third eye opens, the person can see beyond our dimension into other time spaces, and he can see scenes that ordinary people cannot see. This actual is the innate abilities of mankind. When the bodies in others' dimensions are dormant, the innate abilities of this part of the bodies disappear. Mankind could awaken this part of bodies and have these innate abilities only through cultivation, improving human body energy and life level, breaking through dimensions level by level. In a certain period of far ancient time, humans and gods coexisted on the earth. During that period, humans had special abilities and their supernatural powers were manifested. There are many records in ancient books. For example, the Shan Hai Jing records the events of that period. At that time, the human body and the other dimensions were about open, and humans could freely travel between dimensions, and had the supernature abilities that modern people think. Let's discuss in detail later. Chinese culture was taught in far ancient times by very high-dimensional life to mankind, so it is called divine culture, which is from a high dimension, so it can't be understood with low-dimensional thinking mode. During the long history, mankind fell into the desires deeper and deeper because of slowly descending, and become more and more materialized. In the end they're completely stuck in the physical body, having only the instinct of the physical body. The bodies in other dimensions are slowly dormant, and human beings are stuck in the lowest dimensional, three-dimensional spacetime, unable to go back, and can no longer cross the dimensions. Therefore, human beings have gradually lost high-dimensional memory, and thinking in history, gradually lost, and can no longer understand ancient myths and cultures. Chinese culture, which originated from high-dimensional, such as the three ancient books, and Hichu, Luoshu, Zhouyi, gossip, Chinese medicine, Feng Shui, Yin and Yang, and the five elements, all of those have become unsolved mysteries to modern humans. The third eye is taking you to see the world. That's all for today. For more interesting topics, please pay attention to our next video. Thank you for your likes, subscribe and share. If you have any thoughts, please leave us comment below. Thank you, bye bye.